Good evening, everyone. Welcome to TML Weekly, a new Maple Leafs podcast brought to you by Bjorn Sports, Bjorn Hockey. We're real excited. It's a new season, starts tomorrow. Actually, the puck was dropped just a little while ago for some of the other teams, but the Leafs start tomorrow against arch rival Montreal. So we're going to do a show every Tuesday night. And we're going to talk about the Leafs and talk about what it is that makes us fans and makes us crazy and makes us happy and all the emotions that come with being a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. I've got two amazing co-hosts here. I got my buddy Nolan, real good stats guy, huge Leaf fan, comes from a hockey family, known him all his life. Welcome to the show, Nolan. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just running around, trying to keep busy and excited for the season for sure. So we're excited to have you aboard and be a contributor weekly with myself and the other John. So we were throwing around ideas of this podcast and the other guy on the screen, his name's John as well with an H, and he came up with something about the two Johns and this and that. And we went back and forth, but we decided on TML Weekly. But this is the other John with an H, if you will. Welcome. How's your summer?
Johnny, it was fantastic, man. Can't wait to get back into it. Nolan, welcome aboard, my friend. Can't wait to get into it with you. Yeah. We're gonna have a lot of fun this year. Johnny and I, we enjoyed last year. We got into it a little bit and did 3 or 4 podcasts, and we're going to try and make this a weekly endeavor here where we can touch base with the fans and give our kind of thoughts on the team and where we're going, and maybe jump around the league a little bit. But it's going to be mainly Maple Leafs focused, as that's where the passion runs deep. And we're excited, man. Welcome aboard. Thrilled to have you, and I think it's going to be a great year. Go Leafs, go!
Absolutely, and what we want to encourage here. So we're starting from the ground up. We're just 3 guys that like the Leafs. We all have very busy lives, and we're all busy guys. But we want to hear what the viewers and the listeners want. Right? Is there a segment that you'd like? Do you like it when we argue about something? Do you like more stats? Do you like more visuals? So feel free certainly to comment, and send a message to us, any of us. And just say, hey, you know what? I think this would be cool. We'll do it. Hey, if you ever wanted to be on a podcast yourself and think that you might be able to contribute, we'd love to bring in a listener or a viewer, every few weeks to, come in for 15 minutes and see what it's like. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
If you got a good take, we're interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Any ideas, any feedback, whether it be positive or negative, we're here. So what we're going to do tonight, we're just going to have a quick show. We want to introduce ourselves, the new name. What we want to do is just kind of do a little bit of a season preview, talk about a few things, and get excited, get to bed early so you're ready to go for tomorrow's game. So first thing we're going to talk about is the off season. It was quite an interesting off season in Leafland. You had obviously Kyle Dubas and what happened there. I now that it's kind of evolved, and I was a Dubas fan. You can look at my previous. I think he did a lot of great things. That he drafted well. I think he really did a lot for this organization to get them to the sort of the cusp of winning. But what's coming out now is pretty controlling. I think, I know, John, you had a lot of issues with some of the decisions over the last couple of years that Sheldon Keefe has made. I'm hearing that they might not have been necessarily Keefe's decisions, right?
And so here's the interesting thing, though, Johnny. I think with regards to Kyle Dubas, listen. Regardless of whether or not you love Dubas or you hate Dubas, Kyle Dubas had to go when the question was, do you want to be the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs? And the answer was not immediately yes. When the answer is not immediately yes, you got to go. Sorry. That's And there could be power plays and struggles and all that good stuff going on behind the scenes. But part of being a general manager at an NHL level is understanding your relationship and how you manage the public relations end of it. And that is a certified disaster. He had to go. And again, if those decisions weren't Sheldon Keefe's, at a certain point, then you have to ask yourself, is he the right coach? If you're a coach that's just going to take marching orders, and it's a little early in the show for me to get on the coach already. But if that's the relationship that you're going to have, and you were brought in as kind of his guy from the Sioux and all the way along, if you're just a puppet and that's what's coming out now, you got to know that the players on the bench know that stuff too. So
I don't think he was a puppet. Let me clarify. I think that there was certain coaching decisions, just like I believe that there's certain managerial decisions that Shanny had his hand in. I think it went both ways. And when you got a guy like Keefe that he's coaching the Toronto Maple Leafs, maybe sometimes, and you've got to, this isn't the 1985 Toronto Maple Leafs. This is a 2023 Toronto Maple Leafs that can win, right?
God bless John Brophy, though.
Well, I loved him. I used to caddy for him here at Brightwood in Halifax, Dartmouth. He's a beauty guy, man. I'll tell you a story. I was up with my stint with the Marlies, and the Leafs were playing they're playing Minnesota North Stars, and I went into Broph. So I knew Broph, he's a friend of our family, and I went into his office during the national anthem. Back then, the coaches didn't stand on the bench during the national anthem. So he was in his office right behind the Leaf bench at the Old Gardens. This would have been early 1988. And he ended up, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He had a chew in, and he had spit coming out of his mouth. His head looked like it was going to explode. There was sweat pouring down his. That's Ballard, right? That's a Ballard influence, but
prime time.
As intense as you could get. But my point on it is I said, I think Keefe has the keys. I really believe it. And I also, just to finish up the Dubas stuff, I think Shanny had a deal done with their new GM, Travel before that conversation even happened. I think Brad is very, very, very respected. If you talk about some of the former players, and there's two players like that left him in Tkachuk and Gaudreau, basically said we're done. They still speak absolutely highly of him, and they
left Calgary. They didn't leave him.
Exactly. So I think the writing was on the wall. I think they already had it. What did you think of the Dubas exit, Nolan?
Yeah, I think it was a little messy situation to begin the offseason with, especially coming off a first-round win for the first time in a long time. But obviously with the second-round exit, the way it happened, you knew something was going to change, whether it's Keefe or Dubas or some players on the team or other coaching staff. But I always liked Dubas. I never had a problem with him. Always liked his moves. Thought they were really smart.
Always.
Usually.
Give us one there, Johnny. I know you will.
I could go in a multitude of different reasons, but I'll just since it's your first night, I'll just ask you briefly. If you have a head coach who's 1-6 in the playoffs and 1-13 in elimination games, do you think he's still the right guy?
Yeah, well, I think it might be the team. The team that the general manager put together. Yeah, that's fair, but I don't know. It's hard to say. It's such a big thing because it's all the players individually.
There's variables, right? There's a million variables out there, and
I know. I'm just getting you into it. Early.
What he does, Nolan. This is what he does. Most weeks, I want to grab him by the throat. But at the end of it, we can always say, "Hey, that was a good show." I think people
absolutely
like that, right, and it's never personal.
Ever.
It's always,
it's always love.
We have our opinion. I'm more of a, and people that have listened before, I'm more of one that I kind of look at it from the player or the coach or the team perspective as as opposed to the fan. And I try to look at it objectively. And one of the things that I always say, and I said it, I rebutted Johnny several times last year, was that this team can win, right? This team can win. Vegas won last year. Florida, like, there's 16 or 20 teams in this league that can win if anything happens, right? Mm-hmm. Only one of them can every year. I think the Leafs have been unlucky. I think if they get a bounce at certain points over the last 18 years or whatever it was, they could steamroll, right? They could absolutely steamroll. That Boston series, you know, obviously the 4-1 lead in game 7, 2013, right?
Let's not bring it up.
That Toronto team could have beat Chicago that year. That Boston team couldn't, right? But that Toronto team could have beat Chicago that year. They had a really good hockey club. So you get a bounce, or you don't blow a lead or whatever. You stay healthy. Maybe, you know, the year JT gets kneed in the head in game 1 against Montreal. There's another perfect example. And I know he's one player, but at the end of the day, he ends up healthy. It's a different team. The guy's mindset, you know what I mean? So I look at it, you know, we got a clean slate here, John. You can't get too excited.
No. Yet. No, listen. Like let's take a look. Let's even dive in a little bit on who we've got on board now.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the free agent guys that we've brought aboard? Nolan, what do you think about Mr. Bertuzzi coming in?
I love it. Guelph Storm legend, and I think he's gonna be huge on the first line. I think he's gonna be better than Bunting, like a just upgraded version of Bunting. And I think he'd score 30 goals easily playing with Marner and Matthews. Yeah, I love it. He's gonna be great in the playoffs, I think. And
do you have any concerns about his health? That's because I'll be honest. Yeah. When we signed him, I like everything that Bertuzzi brings. I have no complaints on Bertuzzi, the player. I think he's skilled. I think his shot is electric. He brings a little bit of jam. I like all of it. My only concern is betting on a guy who's yet to show that he can be healthy for a full NHL season. And usually as guys get older, they tend not to get healthier. That's my only concern. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, it's obviously a big concern, his injury history, but if you can stay healthy, at least be ready healthy for the playoffs. That's all you really need him for. You saw he's 10 points in 7 games with Boston this past year in playoffs.
100%.
If we can get that, that'd be great. So if you can play 50 games at least regular season.
For $4.1 million, we better be getting more than 50 games. Johnny, what do you think about it?
Yeah, you know what? I like the signing a lot. If you're going to get a guy that plays the way that Tyler Bertuzzi plays, he's going to be hurt. He's a kamikaze. He doesn't give a shit. He goes hard to the net. He'll go in and he's getting cross-checked in the head. He's going to get hurt. The difference now to you could go back and say, well, you know, that's how everybody played in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, but the trainers didn't make you not play. Tyler Bertuzzi play 82 games here if they let him play. That's the type of player he is. And that's the mindset, I think, that, you know, like Nolan said, 50 games. Yeah, if you get 50 games or 60 games or 70 games or 80 games, you're going to get a guy that goes out there and plays the game the right way. You're going to be accountable. And just to add to what Nolan said about Bunting, I like Bunting. But you know what? I'm 54 and out of shape, and I could have got 25 with those two guys, right? And the theatrics of all the you know the diving and all that. He's in trouble, yapping down. He's almost got punched out a couple times already in Carolina in training camp by one of his.
It's going to wear thin quick. It wears too thin quick.
Tyler Bertuzzi's not going to yap at you. He's going to punch you in the face or cross-check a couple of your feet out, and that's
Bunting was all bark, no bite.
Right.
And if we're honest, we need a little bite. We've needed a little bite for a long time. Yeah. And I will say, and you know, this will surprise nobody who knows me. It is why I absolutely love the Ryan Reeves edition. I think, you know what? Kara Grace was watching with me. We were watching on July the 1st, and everything was coming in. And I said, Kara, the one guy that I want is Ryan Reeves. And I've been eaten alive on a few different things that I've done from people who said that, the guy can't play a regular shift and da-da-da-da-da and yada, yada, yada. I'm telling you, he is one of the few deterrents, legitimate deterrents that are left in the NHL today. And I will say to anybody that's watching now who's sitting on the fence, maybe you're not sure, watch Kirill Kaprizov this year in Minnesota. Okay, take a look at his numbers and take a look at the way he plays, and revisit this particular segment by the All-Star break. You're going to see the difference that Ryan Reeves makes.
Yeah, you know what? If you look at it, and then we'll talk about Max Domi here while we're at it. Those are the three, and Klingberg. But Max Domi is an underrated fighter, and Max Domi is a high-end skilled hockey player. And Max Domi has wanted to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs since he could speak, right? I think you're going to see a rejuvenated Max Domi, and you're going to get, like, he's got enough tie in him that you're not going to push around the Toronto Maple Leafs when Max, Ryan, or Tyler are on the ice. And then you've got guys on the back end that will also behave that way if need be, i.e. McCabe.
Even Brody's not afraid.
No,
Brody's not afraid.
Riley's not afraid. All I'm saying, well, he's not. He's going to jump somebody if somebody takes a liberty. He's done it, right? Here's my thing. Up front, 75% of the time, you're going to have somebody on the ice that's going to protect his teammates. And on the back end, maybe, you know what I mean? So chances are, the way with lineups, there's going to be somebody on the ice that's going to address this shit this year.
And Johnny, how long have we been saying that? We've been saying that for so long. That's what this team needs. So I'm with you. Listen, I'm not anti on any of the moves. I like all those moves. The one thing, if I'm going to be critical of something, the one thing that I am critical of is the defense structure. I understand that some people are big Klingberg fans. I understand that he's got a shot from the point and he's going to be good on a power play. We were a second-ranked power play last year. I think we were doing okay as it was. And defensively, he will make you beg for Justin Hall.
Yeah.
So
you know what? I
that worries me. That worries me. If I'm being honest, that's what worries me.
I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to have the puck. I think they're going to pluck a lot. If you look at some analytics and 10 games in, I think you're going to see this team, based on the other factors we talked about, the toughness they're going to have the puck a lot. And you don't need to be very good defensively if you have the puck 65% of the hockey game. You need to, and Klingberg's going to play heavy power play minutes. And I don't think he's going to play heavy regular season. He's not going to play, obviously, any PK. He's not going to play, he'll be a top pairing starting in the other zone and a bottom pairing starting in his zone. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
right?
You hope so. Yeah, I hope so too.
He's not going to be on the ice zone.
Just as an FYI, in Toronto right now, Johnny, I'm just going to throw it out. I know you're on the East Coast, so I'm going to throw it out there. The word analytics in Toronto right now after the Blue Jays, maybe we don't want to throw that word around right now. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. That's what they do. That's
it's a little bit of a swear word around here these days.
But if you got the puck,
it's fair point.
About analytics, if you got the puck a lot, doesn't matter how good your D is, and your goaltending for that matter. I truly believe these young kids that came into the Leafs in the last 6-7 years, they're men now, and they're bringing in other men to surround them with that make them even bigger men, right? Do you think that Marner and Matthews, somebody's going to give Matthews a punch in the back of the head in front of the net like they did for the last 3 years, and Bunting did nothing about it?
No, I agree with you. I think that's going to be a huge difference this year. I agree, 100%.
Bertuzzi's going to punch him in the face, and then when he gets out of the penalty box after that scuffle, Reeves is going to kill him.
Yeah, right? John, I'm with you. I'm with you there. No issues there. 100%.
Any surprises out of training camp for you guys? There's a couple, obvious.
Nolan, I'll give you the easy one, Nolan.
Fraser Minton. It's a big surprise. Did not expect him to make the team, obviously. I don't think anyone did. But he looked really good the preseason. And, it looked like he belonged in the NHL, third-line center. It's perfect. He and Nyes look to have a good connection. He's a big guy. Looks like he can kill penalties too. I like it a lot.
Well, here's the thing about what I see. Okay. And
let's see if we're on the same page here, Johnny. Let's see if we're on the same page.
I was a Dubas fan. Okay. If Dubas is here, that guy doesn't make this hockey club because Dubas drafted Robertson.
Nick Robertson.
So Nick Robertson's in that lineup. So now there's two things that you can read into this, right? Brad Treliving wants to fucking win hockey games. He doesn't care about who drafted who and this and that and what's politically correct. And this guy, I put so much time and effort in. He's going to be traded in the next 48 hours. Robertson's gone. I expect Dallas just because I think playing with his brother might give him a new lease in life, at least to the Dallas organization and let him earn his way. But there's other teams that'll be interested in Robertson. But he doesn't make this team. Fraser Minton doesn't. And he's a great Western kid. Kamloops played in the Memorial Cup. Tough, right? Plays the game the right way. I always say play the game the right way. He plays it the right way, right? And he earned a spot. And it's nice it's not just for him and other Toronto Maple Leafs prospects. It's nice for kids to see that that's still an option because second rounders never play in the NHL in their 19-year-old year because there's just always been a thing that guy's got to go back to junior. Well, you know what? No, he doesn't. If he can help this team win right now, bring him in, right? Except for defensemen. I agree with the defenseman going to junior because they got to learn. That's a bigger learning curve. But if he could come in and compete, I love it. Was that the obvious one you said?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to me. I mean, Fraser Minton is, he's looks to be the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
I don't know, truthfully, whether he's here for 9 games, and gets to have a cup of coffee and go on a pro road trip and get those benefits that kind of go along with that. Again, even if he's only here 9 games, there's no negative to that. Yeah. I would not even have been angry if they kept young Cowan up for a few games just to give him a taste.
Keep him for 9.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just give him a taste and then send him back. The one thing that I will say to you, Johnny, just on your Robertson take, I do agree with you that if Dubas is here, he's playing. But I'm also of the mindset I am in no hurry to trade Nick Robertson. Nick Robertson.
What if you get before you finish that? What if you could get the 6'7" defenseman Desharnais from Edmonton for him?
Well, I'll do it right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'll do it right now. But what I'm saying is, based on what his cap hit is to a cap strap team, I'm in no hurry to move a player like Robertson, especially when we look at Bertuzzi's injury history and kind of where this team is. There's no negative to having Nick Robertson waiting in the wings, hungry and ready to come up. There's also no negative to Nick Robertson playing 21, 22 minutes a night with the Marlies and developing his game. That's my only take on Nick Robertson.
Yeah, I think his times, if he was going to make, he's been given every opportunity to succeed, right?
It's a fair point. No, it's a fair point. No, it's a fair point. If I was going to go with some surprises out of camp, I'll leave Cowan because I think everybody's talked Cowan to death. Who I was a little disappointed with was Topi Niemann. Based on everything that I had heard, I expected a little bit more out of him. Every time he had the puck off his stick, just a little too quick. A little nervous in his own end, missing plays coming back. He wasn't the number one all-world guy that I was expecting based on everything that I had heard. So that was a little disappointing for me. I was surprised by Kokkonen. I thought he was a little bit better than I thought he was going to be. And with Timmins, who, if we're being honest, Connor Timmins looked absolutely fantastic for his first handful of games. And if I was going to go down, it was funny when Timmins was looking so good. I thought the only poor thing about Connor Timmins is it's not going to matter because Keefe still wouldn't play him.
No, I don't know about that now after the preseason.
But and unfortunately, the injury bug bites and he goes down. What did you guys think about the young guys on defense that were coming up, specifically Neiman? I'm interested about your thoughts there.
I'm gonna let Nolan take this one. Honestly, I haven't watched a preseason game. I haven't watched a shift. I'm busy, man. I get my son was going through tryouts, so we're at the rink every night. I haven't watched a preseason game yet.
What do you think?
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't seen Niemela much. He got sent down after just a few games, I believe. But just seeing him in the World Juniors, I think he won Defenseman of the Tournament at the 2 tournaments ago. So I think he has high hopes, obviously, but he's a smaller guy, skilled guy, kind of like Klingberg, but smaller, like offensive-minded, puck-moving defenseman. But yeah, just seeing him in a small sample size, I think he just didn't look quite ready yet. I think he needs time with the Marlies, obviously, coming over to North America. And we'll see how he progresses. But
yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, these European defensemen that come over, the Europe game is different, right? And I'm not saying it's worse or better or the same. It's different.
It's just different. I agree.
There's a bigger, ice surface there that, I went the other way. I went from here over there, and I remember thinking you got a guy lined up kind of on a back check, and he's got, 6 more feet to go around you kind of thing. So I can imagine it would be terrifying for those guys when you have that much space and you grow up playing on that much space, and then now there's this much space and the guys are that much bigger, right? That time and space that you need to make good decisions to, help your hockey club or not hurt your hockey club, go down fast. So yeah, I think he's, he needs to be in the American Hockey League for a year or two.
And so, you know what? Just to make that point though, Johnny, and may he rest in peace. Can we just remember Borje Salming for how absolutely ridiculous it was to him and Inge Hammerstrom coming over, doing what they did like that, coming in. Whenever you get a chance to shout out Borje Salming, I think it's a good thing.
100%. And Borje was my favorite. Him and Bobby Orr were, and I wasn't a defenseman, but I liked him and I liked Bobby Orr, obviously. And Borje, I talked to, and I forget who it was, but I talked to a longtime NHLer that played, against Borje, played against, in the set. It might have been Barry Becker or somebody from that era anyway. And we talked about, but it was right around when Borje passed, and they said flat out that Borje was the toughest hockey player that they ever played against, and he never fought. Right? He had to a couple times. He got jumped several times in Philly when he first came in, but they said as far as toughness, he would take a cross check, he would take a punch in the face, a slew foot, a spear, and he just kept going. Remember when he was playing for Detroit?
Yeah, that 500 stitches or whatever it was there.
But that person said that he was the toughest player that he ever played.
I've heard that too, John. I've heard that too.
Yeah. And no, for sure. And you know what? I loved what they did. And they didn't, I think if you read between the lines, you knew what they were doing when they brought him over. They knew he had a week or two. He died like a week after he left here.
Yeah. Right?
You're gonna have him out there and seeing the guys crying. And
it's beautiful, though. It's beautiful.
Tiger and Lanny, and yeah, it was pretty special, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, he every European that plays in the National Hockey League owes him a part of their paycheck or his family because he came over here and paved the way. For sure.
And you know what? If you ever get a chance, there's a great interview. You could probably find it on YouTube or something to watch Peter Forsberg.
Yeah,
talk about
sure.
Peter Forsberg, he just gushed about him, and him in Sweden is it sounds crazy, but it's almost the way Gretzky's revered here.
Yeah.
right? Like just he's that guy over there to them. And yeah. Anyhow, I don't know how we got started on Borje Salming, but
you know what? I always have time. And then we lost another prospect this summer too. If we're talking about,
what a sin that was.
Yeah. What was his name?
Rodion
Amirov.
Amirov, yeah.
Yeah. Sad.
Young kid too. Young kid.
These kids are too young, and crappy for sure. So hey, let's move on here. I'm gonna go into my prediction, and then we're gonna do a little bit of rapid fire. And I think we'll put this in as a segment every week. So let's talk about how many points. I'm gonna defer, and I'm gonna go last on all these. So I'm gonna go. How many points do the Leafs get approximately, and where do they finish in the standings regular season? Nolan.
Well, they had 111 last year, I think. I can see with Boston taking a step back. I can see them getting. I'll say 114.
Okay, and where that obviously you think they're first in the Atlantic?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Johnny.
All right, I'm gonna shock the world here. I'm gonna say 95 points, and we're gonna finish third in the division.
Okay. I agree with Nolan. I think it's going to be in the 110 to 115. I think even if they have to deal with some injuries, this team is that good. We just have to see how it goes. I say 110 to 115. Certainly first in the division. I think Boston steps back for sure.
You know what the funny part is, Nolan? Normally I'm a positive guy. I don't know.
Well, that's good because now when they exceed your expectations, now you got nothing to complain about every week. Our show's
absolutely.
Our show will be about 5 minutes long if you're not complaining. All right, good. Who's in the Eastern Conference Final?
I just think about this. I'm going to go Leafs, kind of biased against it's either the Devils or the Canes. So I'll go Devils just for fun because I think it'd be more entertaining.
And what about West?
With Matthews.
What about the West? Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go Oilers and Stars.
Okay. And who wins the Cup?
I'll go Oilers this year. McDavid's dialed in. He's going to get one eventually. I think it's his year.
Okay, Johnny, Eastern Conference Final.
Leafs, Hurricanes.
West.
Vegas, Dallas.
Okay, and who wins the Cup?
I never say this, Johnny. I never say it, but I really think that this could be our year.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I kind of have a little bit of what both of you had. I have Jersey and Toronto. I think Jersey's going to be real good.
Jersey is going to be good.
The Luke Hughes kid is going to be better than they say. He's got a better upside than Quinn, right? And put on a good offensive team like they are.
He's got the size over
this
Quinn.
Guy's going to be if you're picking defensemen in your hockey pool, he's a sleeper. He's a 50-60 point possible guy in year one. So I think Jersey, Toronto, and the West I got Colorado and Dallas.
But we all like Dallas, eh?
Yeah, you know what? Adding the guys that they did, like bringing over what's the kid
Duchesne.
Kid. Yeah, Duchesne. That's huge. At that money, come on.
Yeah. And that goalie, I don't care. That goalie, I think, is probably next to Vasilevsky, is probably in the league.
Yeah, Ettinger. Yeah, he's really good. And then I like the Leafs. I really do. I say it every year, and I get 1 year I'm going to be right. Right? If I keep saying it, 1 year I'll eventually be right, I hope. Okay. Just rapid fire again. Rookie of the year. I think we can probably all agree on this one. Or maybe not.
I just put down a bet the other day on Logan Cooley. I'm not the biggest fan of him. Just
He's going to play a lot.
Canadian bias. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Yotes offense this year. And seeing him in the preseason, that one goal he had over in Australia.
Yeah.
I could see him having a big year playing with Keller and Schmaltz in the power play. But yeah, Bedard's is the favorite, obviously. It'd be cool to see him win, but
yeah. What do you think, Johnny?
I mean, I don't know how you bet against Bedard. he's pretty much anointed already. He's looked good in the preseason. I've seen him play a couple times just for fun. My sleeper, and I'm going to surprise some people here, is I think you're going to see Joseph Woll take over the net fairly quickly here for us. And I think Joseph Woll could have a run.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, if he gets the net, he'll absolutely, because I think that team's good.
And listen, I everything I've seen, I think we got the absolute best out of Samsonov last year.
Yeah.
And if you watch Samsonov, from February till the end of the year, there was a lot of breakdowns there. Positionally, he's all over the ice. He's flopping around. He couldn't quite get back to where he was. I don't trust Samsonov. And Joseph Woll, call me crazy, but I think Joseph Woll is going to be the guy by the beginning of December.
I've never been a big Kyle Davidson fan in Chicago. Okay, I haven't liked him since he came in. But what he did to insulate this Bedard kid, brilliant. Okay, he brings in Foligno,
all the right guys,
Foligno, Perry, and then Taylor Hall, who was in the same boat. He was a one pick. He watched McDavid come in. He watched 4 or 5 1 picks come in Edmonton and can give this kid feedback on what didn't work for Yakupov and what worked for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and what worked for him and what, that kind of thing. And then Corey Perry, he's just, I've spoke, to several of his teammates on my other podcast and everyone says best teammate ever. Like that Corey Perry will, do anything to win. So he's going to protect this kid. And then Foligno, again, we're only a couple of years away out from Foligno was a big, big deal in this league. And he's been a little unhealthy, but they didn't bring him in there to play 20 minutes a night. They brought him in. I think Bedard's living with him, if I'm not correct.
Smart move.
What's that? Yeah.
Smart move.
Maybe he has his own place. I don't know. But he's going to be a very, very big part of the young man's life. And I think the kid's got a ceiling in my book of 50 goals and 100 points. I really do, because he's going to play more than any rookie has played since probably McDavid.
Johnny, he's going to be the Patrick Marleau to Matthews and Marner back in the day.
100%.
That's why he's there.
So I got him. I mean, I think he, if he stays healthy and Chicago's even half decent and they're in some hockey games, he could get 100 points this year quite easily. A lot of people are capping him out at 60 or 70. Why? Look what he did in the Western League. He scored 2.5 points a game in probably, in my opinion, the toughest junior league out of the 3, right? There's been guys that have put up 240, 250 points in the Q and not so many in the O, but not in the dub. And absolutely.
Well, Johnny, in the queue, you're not even allowed to look at somebody anymore. It's a 5-minute major if you look at somebody the wrong way in the queue.
Yeah, I was at the Mooseheads game the other night, but you know what? The junior hockey's so big and fast now. Like I forget, right? You forget. Maybe I'm getting old, or I certainly wasn't this fast when I played. But they're big, big men, and they can play.
I was never that good.
Oh man, these guys can play. All right, so we got Rookie of the Year, MVP, Nolan.
Here, I'll let you go. I haven't thought about this yet.
Okay, so the obvious pick is to go with McJesus, because why wouldn't you pick him? The guys, if we're being honest, there's nobody that's even on his level. And it's not even close. The stuff that he does, I love the Savior. I think he's fantastic, but he's so distant to what McJesus is. You got to go McJesus until somebody proves him otherwise.
Nolan?
Okay. I'll go Nathan McKinnon this year. I'll change it up a little bit. I think if you can stay healthy this year, put up 120 points at least, just carry the Avs to the playoffs, win the Central maybe.
I think Matthews has a big bounce back. I think he's in the conversation. He's a finalist. But
I agree.
I think Cale Makar. Cale Makar had an off year last year. He's hurt a lot. He's just one of those kids that just rises to every challenge. And people, I'm watching the predictions in the different sites, and don't even have him in the top 5 for the Norris. I mean, let's not forget what this kid's capable of. I think he wins the Norris. I think he's in the top 10 in scoring, and I think he wins the Hart. I really do. And it all depends. I mean, team success plays a little bit of a role too, right? If Colorado's not playing very well, maybe he's not in the mix. But if they're dominating,
Cale Makar is elite. Let's not pretend that he's not. Cale Makar is elite.
Yeah, 100%. He's capable. Top scorer, McDavid. I think he's going to win the. He's going to unless he gets hurt, he's going to have 130 points.
Yeah. Easy. He's going to have 130 points in his sleep.
Yeah, that's the bar.
No. Yeah. We got MVP. We got top scorer. Rocket Richard.
Matthews. I think.
I agree.
Or McDavid. You never know that guy.
I think Matthews is going to bounce back.
So I love Matthews, so I'm going to take Matthews, but I think Mr. Pasternak is going to be right there.
Yeah, but he's that team's not going to be as good.
No, I just I got a feeling about Pasternak. I don't know. Boston does weird things to me.
Coach of the year.
Sheldon Keefe.
I got that on tape. Lindy Ruff.
I'll go Don Granato in Buffalo.
Yeah, they could improve.
I see them making the playoffs. They missed last year by 1 point.
They're going to go wherever their rookie goalie goes, and there's a lot of pressure being put on him right now. People, he's up for the Calder. I read an article. Devin, come on, okay? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. If he can get that team in the playoffs, and win enough of close games to sneak them in the playoffs, that's huge. That doesn't mean he needs to win a Calder. That means they're better than a 500 team and they win 60% of his starts. That's a real good year for that kid.
What if he puts up like a 930 and goes like 30-12?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's up there.
I like our friend in Ottawa. I think Ottawa is going to be a very good team this year.
Yeah, I love DJ, but I think DJ is not working for Ottawa by Christmas, unfortunately.
See, I understand every reason why you would think that. There's every reason to think that. And I've just got a funny feeling that they are going to get out of the gate hot and be the it team. It's
the only way that he keeps his job. If they've got to be, let's say at the 20, let's say at the 20 game mark, I think if they're any less than 13-7, he's gone. Because it's a new owner. You've got new management. You got some guys that will not have the patience, maybe that the previous regime or the current regime that's going to be gone. I mean, they brought in Steos, basically. So what's that saying for Dorian? What's that saying for all these guys, right?
I mean, I listened to an interview with Steos, and he said everything that you'd want to hear if you were Pierre Dorian. He said everything that you want to hear. Whether it's legit or not, I mean, we'll find out. I do think, though, that Tampa is Ottawa is my pick. They're my sleeper pick this year. I think they're going to be pretty good.
I like them, but I think the pressure on leadership there is going to be immense. They got, in my opinion, Brady Tkachuk's a top 10 player in the world. We've talked about that. Him and his brother. You build it. You build a team around one guy. Both of those guys might slide in ahead of McDavid and Matthews. And if you want a guy that's going to bring it every night, stay healthy, play the game the right way, those two brothers are right there in the conversation with anybody in the National Hockey League.
Good pedigree too.
Norris Trophy.
I'll go Dahlin, little sleeper pick.
Ooh, Mr. $11 million.
Yeah. Well,
it's a little bit
big deal. Yeah, I don't know. I can see. I'm really high on Buffalo this year. I have them finishing second in the Atlantic, and I see Tage and Dahlin just popping off this year, having a great power play, great season. I can see Dahlin having 80+ points this year.
Plays a lot.
Okay, so I'm as Johnny knows, I am a huge Cale Makar guy. I think the world of him. I think he's going to have a huge bounce back year. However, I'm going to give you my 3 finalists.
Okay.
I'm going to give you Cale Makar. I'm going to give you Roman Josi, just because I think he is like an unbelievable joy to watch on the ice every time I watch. But the winner is going to be our friend Mr. Fox, playing for the New York Rangers.
He's going to have to talk a lot. That's a good team.
That kid, every time I watch the Rangers play, I just marvel at that kid. I've got a couple of buddies who are big Rangers guys, and they just say, Johnny, I'm telling you, if you watch this kid night in and night out, he is special, special, special. So I'm going with Mr. Fox.
Good. Yeah, I think Cale. I think Klingberg's a finalist.
Art Klingberg?
Yeah. I think he gets 40. I think he gets 40 power play points this year.
Johnny, what are you drinking?
Pepsi, Diet Pepsi. I'm on the wagon.
I'm not sure, man. If you're picking Klingberg,
well, they're giving it to guys that score points now. Erik Karlsson.
Jeez.
Erik Karlsson hasn't played defense for 15 years, and he won the Norris.
I know, right? But Klingberg's going to be a minus player with 70 points.
Yep, we'll see.
Oh man! Oh,
hey,
that's
this is all. Hey,
Johnny, that is a bold prediction. That's a bold prediction.
Nolan, we can break these up all into pretty little clips too, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Look back at them at the end of the year too.
Yeah, at the end of the year when Johnny says to me, yeah.
For the preview show, but that was fun. Lots of banter. I'm excited to get going next week. Predictions for tomorrow night. What's the score?
I'm going 5-3 Leafs.
Leafs 4-1.
6-2.
Woo! It's calling a blowout.
And then, folks, the other thing that we'll do throughout the year is we'll do some live streams in between periods. We'll do a pre-show the odd time. We'll do all kinds of cool stuff. But let us know what you want. And thanks for tuning in. And we will see you next Tuesday night.
Go Leafs, go.
Good.